Hello, my precious little sparkles. Welcome back to Work Rambles with Roslyn. And today I'm going to talk about my school counseling job. Now, as you may have heard from the previous Work Ramble, I was doing professional counseling, the job of my dreams essentially. And unfortunately, that job was underpaying me and was paying me out of pocket, and I needed a job that actually came with benefits. So I was looking for a school counseling job that would actually provide me with benefits and would help dash away those student loans that were just about to come back. So I was looking for a job, and I found a job at one of my old schools. Yay! I applied! And I didn't get it. So, woe is me, I kept looking. Unfortunately, nothing was really hitting, so I didn't find a job over the summer. And I don't know if anyone else does this, but I reminisced a little bit, and I looked back at the old job application, like I was looking for the job post, to see it not be there. So I looked back at the school website, and lo and behold, for some reason, the job application came back up for like that same school year. And I was like, did the person that they hired not take the job? But I'm like, bet. And I reapplied for the job. It did take a little bit for me to figure out how I could reapply for the job, because once you apply for that position, they keep your application for a couple of years. And yeah, I couldn't reapply, but I found a couple ways around it. And yeah, I reapplied, and that same day they called me back. And I didn't have to re-interview or anything. They're just like, yeah, here's the job, and come in tomorrow and we'll do the paperwork. And I was ecstatic. Some of the people that used to teach me were actually still there. So, I don't know. It was interesting, that was for sure. It was interesting. And I didn't know what was going to happen. That first year was quite a lot. I'm not sure how it happens at every school. I know every area is different, and that's not even just talking about the towns. Every state is different and things like that. But where I was, every school counselor has a social worker, and I had a social worker with me at that school. They were helpful. They tried to help me at first, and then it became too much. They were overstepping things. They were telling me what to do and what not to do. Like, they told me, you can only talk to kids for 15 minutes, and then you have to not talk to them anymore. And from what my school counseling has taught me is, you talk to kids as long as they need to. They have needs, and you need to meet them. And they were telling me to do things that were not in my job description. They were working me to the bone. I have worked myself to the bone to know that they were overstepping and becoming controlling. If you remember from the previous job, I had a coworker that became very, very controlling, and I was not about to let that happen again. So as much as I did really like working with her, I took a couple steps back. I didn't ignore her or anything, but if she said something, I acknowledged it. I said, okay, yeah, but I talk to kids more than 15 minutes. I said okay to like helping her with stuff, but I put boundaries. She would tell me, hey, I need you to work on this tonight. I said, oh, no, I will work on it tomorrow morning. Once the dismissal bell hits, I am done. When I come in at 8 a.m. tomorrow, I will get to it. My written contract are these hours. She worked way beyond that. When I set boundaries. She did not like that. And I could tell. She started to avoid me. She started to not tell me things. She started to give me a hard time. She started pulling me into rooms with no people there to give me lectures from time to time. It didn't happen often, so I didn't say anything. I also didn't feel like I was being supported. People that she talked to gave me side eyes. But again, I didn't know if I was overreacting or what was going on. And at one point, my bosses, the principals, told me I had to stop asking her for help. So when I had kids kicking me, that weren't even my students, those were specifically her students. When I had kids kicking me, or if I asked for help on certain kids, I had to stop asking her for help. So when I actually needed it, I had to stop. So in my first year, I have to be independent. That doesn't make any sense, but okay. And when I did ask for help, like, hey, I don't think that the relationship I have with the social worker is going well, when I did bring it up to the principal, they said, oh no, she's just like that. She's a little hard-headed. That's all that they told me. That was all that they told me. Is that I have to do things by myself. And that she's not being mean. She's just hard-headed. She's just very focused. I had a very terrible first year. She was very abrasive. She was very mean. She was nice some days and she was cold other days. She tried to put a lot of work on me. And even when I had another person work with me on things, they didn't even want to work with her. And they barely even worked with her. That was my first year. I was so triggered. I was shaking. Every morning I would be sick to my stomach going into work. It was hard for me to go into work thinking, having to see her, having to see the other people that I felt like were on her side. I was scared. And not to mention, not even just counting her, I felt like I was unsupported by staff. One example of that was that I was working with a kid. Something was very off with him. And not in like a bad way or anything, but I felt like this kid needed support that the school could not provide. And I tried to ring the bell. Every time I would talk to the kid, he would say sentences that were incomplete. His thoughts were just off. Like I would ask him a question and he would answer and not finish the thought. Like I would say, hey, so when you go home, who's at home? And he would say, no, I didn't hit the kid. And that's not a connected thought. I would keep asking him other things. We would do other things. And there were just other things that were very off. And I told the principal, hey, something's very off. I think this kid needs to be evaluated and supported in some way. We need to tell home about it. But the principal said, no, the family would never go for it. I said, bet me on that. I'm normally terrified to call parents. I have social anxiety. I have fear of confrontation. But bet I will call the family. I had to go through multiple family members. Aunts, uncles, grandparents, the parents that I had to go through multiple people. And I got to convince them to get the child evaluated. I walked them through the process to get the child evaluated. I brought all of this proof to the principal and said, hey, this is what's going on. I got the approval for the evaluation. This is what's happening with the kid. The principal looked at me and said, the kid is just tricking you. There's nothing going on with that child. I lost all respect. I lost everything I had going at that moment. And that's when I told myself, I will be here for the kids. I will continue to do my professional counseling duties of helping kids one-on-one, but I am no longer going to do whatever these people asked me to do. Not that they should have been asking me in the first place. They want me to cover a lunch or something? Nah, busy. They want me to just be a body? No. I will help kids when they need me. I will do whatever the kids need me for. But if they ask me to ever do anything besides help a child, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That was unacceptable. And not even a week after that happened, the child grabbed a pair of scissors. Fortunately, only threatened another child with them. Only threatened. This child was very young, by the way. I forgot to mention that. They were only like kindergarten, I think. And it wasn't until then that the principal said, this child needs support, this child needs to be evaluated. Oh, really? I wonder who could have predicted that. I wonder if there's someone who could have told you, who could have foreseen that. It's not about prevention, is it? It's about reacting. Interesting. Why don't I care? Don't care about her. I do care about him. Whatever though, I guess. Don't care about her. I do care about them though. Child. Yep. But that was just the first year. I am going to mention one more thing that also bothered me. I attended all of the staff outings. I went out to every single event. I tried to talk to everyone just to put myself out there, you know? And every year you are to be evaluated by the principals. And I got a middle evaluation. My lessons were okay. My ability to connect with staff and be positive and be out there with them was mediocre. I got a low rating. My second year, I got a better rating. I got a higher rating. I did not go to any outings with the staff. I refused. I stopped participating, but I got a higher rating. My lessons were better, even though they were the same. Is that a sign they didn't want to see me? I doubt it, but yeah, my second year, they gave me a better rating. I don't get it, but yeah. But honestly, it's probably because of what happened the second year that I was there. The second year that I was there, the social worker quit. Over the summer, she left. The social worker left, and over the summer, they were not able to hire another social worker. And on top of that, throughout the year that I was there, the second year, they were not able to hire one throughout the whole school year. I don't know why. Don't know what happened, but they were not able to find one. So I was in charge of the school, taking care of all of the social emotional needs of all 500, 600 kids in the building. Yep. On a technicality, social workers are needed in every building where there's a school, at least where I am. So we did have social workers come in from other buildings to come and help us, but they couldn't stay. But they did meet the requirements for what was needed in the building, but they couldn't stay and help it during emergencies. So that was my job. But I came in that second year with a more positive attitude because she wasn't there. I was ready because I knew what I needed to do that second year. I was more prepared. And I think they tried to help me or be more lenient because I was the only help that they had to socially help all of these kids with all of their emotional needs. So, yeah, I honestly don't remember much of the second year because it just kind of flew by me. I took care of everything. And yeah, I honestly don't remember much of that second year. All I remember is I took care of everything. I got through it. And yeah, I just tried my best. And I got a better score, even though everything was exactly the same. I also got training on something big. But yeah, that was about it. And now this is my third year. This is my third year being a school counselor. And I don't know. I don't know how to feel. Because now we do have a social worker. I'm scared to get my hopes up. Because they're nice. They're nice. They're chatty. They're ecstatic to work with the kids. They constantly come in to chat with me, to hang out and have fun. They remind me a lot of when I started the first year. I always was excited to talk about the kids, talk about how cute they were with the old social worker. The old social worker just wanted to complain about them. But now I have someone who constantly wants to come in and talk about how cute they are. And now I'm happy and I'm scared to be happy and to lose that. It's an unsettling new territory. And the other thing is I'm giving them something that I wish people would give me whenever I start anywhere new. I gave them a copy of a schedule of what happens throughout the year, what to expect. I didn't say anything about the staff. I wanted them to learn that through themselves. I wanted them to form their own opinion. I told them what they would expect throughout the year, how everything works, what to see, how to do things. They took it in stride. And yeah, that has been the 3 years as a school counselor. That's what happened to me, at least. The job itself is a different story. I'm gonna see if I can go through it, because school counseling is different per area that you go to, because I work with younger kids, like at an elementary school. It's different. So what I do with the younger kids is I go to every classroom and I give lessons like tattling versus reporting, staying in your personal space, things like that. So lessons that are very important for little kids to learn. And then I do groups. I take kids that need to take specific kids out that could benefit from being in a group. Like, hey, these kids in particular have had family members pass away, and they can share that and talk about that together, but in activities, in like fun little activities and games. And we do that for like a couple weeks together. Or if some kids could learn some things together, like, hey, this is how we can learn how to focus in class better together, or things like that. And then I'll take kids out one by one. If they need to focus more on one by one talking to me individually, like they have anxiety, so we work on how to de-stress, or this kid has ADHD, so we focus on how to get rid of that energy a little bit more. So I either do lessons, I do groups, or I work with kids one-on-one, or I get called for emergencies. A kid is having a breakdown. A kid is running out of the classroom and we need to go talk about why they're doing that. Things like that. Or I'm going to meetings for kids that might need assistance in working on plans, or I need to work on major events like holidays, career day, other major events. There is a lot more to being a counselor, a school counselor, than meets the eye. And it varies per school. What I've learned in my teaching of being a school counselor and my experience from going to different schools is that in middle school, there are more lessons like learning about self-harm, making a letter of recommendation when you're going from middle school to a high school, like if you're going to a private one or if you're going to like a special one, and the type of career day would be very different. And in high school, it's more focused on preparing them for college, various letters of recommendation or more details, researching, talking about sex and unfortunately taking one's own life, things like that. And, just adjusting for the age group. There's quite a bit more stuff and a lot more work. The number of kids that you would have too, I said 500 to 600. You would have a bigger number by the age. So middle school, you'd have more kids. High school, you'd have more kids. And you probably would have more than one school counselor there too. Especially depending on the area that you're in, like in a city versus a suburb. And yeah, being a school counselor is more than meets the eye and more than what you think. It's not just talking to kids about their feelings. It's teaching them to and being there with them and doing a lot more on the side. And fortunately or unfortunately, that's been my experience. I will say a very horrible first year, but it did prep me for the second year to be able to stiffen up to prepare to be alone. But it shook me for the third year. But everything comes with a lesson and with a price tag. And as I always say, it is what it is. I can either focus on the past and honestly cry about it, or I can focus on what's going on right now and keep walking forward. And right now, I have a really great coworker. The school has honestly done a 180. They stopped being butt faces and they're focusing better on the kids right now. They're focusing better. And you know what? If anything happens, I have other options. And I have more experience now. Anyway, thank you everyone so much for listening to me. I hope you can take away from this, if anything, not everything stays the same forever. I hope I can open up your eyes to being a school counselor, at least a little bit from this. The next story for Work Rambles, honestly, the next ones are just going to be side stories of other jobs I've had. Like I worked at an office supply store, a swim school, and honestly the rest of them are just like other like minor jobs. Ooh, I forgot I worked at this one I can actually say because the building is closed. Joanne Fabrics, how I missed thee. I'm just gonna see what's on my list, like in order from kind of what I wrote it, and just kind of go from there. But yeah, let me know if you're interested in any of these, like the office supply store, more daycare stores, because I've actually worked at multiple buildings, or the Joann Fabrics, or yeah, any of these other ones. Pretty soon I'm gonna actually run out of stories, and I think I'm gonna jump back on mental health or interviews with like other VTubers and stuff. I don't think I'm gonna be done with podcasting for a while, but yeah, let me know if you're interested in any of these other ones, any of the ones I mentioned, interviewing VTubers or anything. And anyways, I love you, my little sparkles, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.